Imagine a man navigating life's challenges, grappling with failure and heavy alcohol addiction. He still relies on family support at the age of 35, determined to find love and hopeful for new opportunities through a dating app. A final meeting was arranged, and in the relaxed atmosphere of an evening at a restaurant, they shared stories and laughter. However, when the question, "What do you do for a living?" arose, there was no precise or confident answer. Although the encounter was enjoyable, a lack of confidence and uncertainty dimmed some of the joy. Despite moments of romance during the date, ultimately, the woman decides not to continue this into the next date. When friends inquire about the reason, she responds, "Oh, he looks attractive and quite pleasant, but I've decided not to continue dating those without prospects." There's nothing wrong with choosing who you want to date. Everyone has the right to decline if the romantic prospect doesn't align with their needs. This example illustrates how the term loser is often used in today's society to evaluate others. In many modern cultures, being called a loser equates to being the subject of ridicule and disdain. It's an assertion that you're failing at life and it's entirely your fault. So, you're labeled as a loser. However, upon closer examination, labeling someone as a loser is a very narrow and flawed way to assess a person. Firstly, what exactly has this person lost? What truly defines failure? And is failure really the fault of that individual to such an extent? Why do we feel the need to mock those who don't meet specific standards? In summary, why do we call someone a loser? No one wants to be seen as a loser. In today's context, where the term loser is commonly used to belittle others, many fear being classified as such. However, for some, being labeled a loser is unavoidable. This video will delve into the absurdity of calling someone a loser, especially as an insult, and how we can embrace being a happy loser. The term loser originates from the verb to lose, technically indicating someone who has lost or been defeated. In Dutch, the word for loser is verliezer, meaning someone who has failed. For example, a team that loses a match is called verliezers. Similarly, in French, the word perdant also carries a similar meaning, someone who has lost. However, the meaning of the English term loser goes beyond the simple concept of someone who has lost. An article in the Prince George Citizen explains that when the term loser is used in its true sense, it's just a part of life. You win some matches and you lose some. Failure should not and does not define us. However, the term loser has been distorted into an insulting term, an insult hurled without a second thought. Don't behave like a failure, you're a real loser or a born loser. The term loser is used in countless different situations. If you haven't achieved the minimum standards that society deems as success, you're labeled a loser. If you're addicted to drugs and living as a vagrant on the streets, you're also called a loser. If you're not attractive and can't find a partner, you're considered a failure. If you lack sexual relationships, you're also seen as a loser. Some even use the term loser in a broader sense to attack less successful political opponents or to denigrate wounded or killed soldiers in war. An article in Salon, America's Greatest Divide, Winners and Losers, explored the sharp division between winners and losers in American culture. In the cited quote, "America has deeply divided between those considered winners and those deemed losers." According to the author Neil Gabler, This division may be more significant than many other divides based on race, religion, politics, or economics. In Gaber's statement, he emphasizes that those deemed losers are often culturally denigrated, equivalent to the untouchables in Indian society within America. This raises the question, who wants to date someone seen as not measuring up? Who wants to date a loser? Unless we believe in the absolute determinism of fate, it seems we have a choice. For instance, we can decide to get out of bed early and finish our work. We can decide to exercise. However, the notion that our lives are solely the result of our decisions is not the whole story. Most events in life depend not only on our choices, but also on external factors. There's a common view that becoming a loser is one's own fault. Losers are just people who didn't work hard enough. And if you're in a terrible state of failure, you can only blame yourself. But we often forget that there is a factor called fate. Ancient Stoics recognized that external events are beyond our control. The only thing we control is our actions. As they used to say, we can control our attitudes, opinions, goals, and desires, our own choices. But we cannot control health, wealth, fame, or power, things that cannot be achieved merely by choosing them. In life, there are things we cannot control, but there are things we can. There are external events that we cannot change, but we always have the ability to control how we react and deal with them. Our mindset, perspectives, and daily choices are things we can control, and it is these very things that shape the course of our lives. Scott Barry Kaufman, a humanistic psychologist, has dedicated his career to exploring the unique psychological factors that lead to success and creativity. In an article in Scientific American, he discussed the important role luck plays in life success, an aspect often deemed more significant than we realize. Kaufman asserts that it's not talent that's the main issue, but factors such as country of residence, income distribution, reputation, and even month of birth can influence a person's success. He also presents scientific data to demonstrate that luck and misfortune impact the journeys of both talented and untalented individuals, and that those with optimal talent are often not the most successful. The fortunate sequence of events can turn less talented individuals into outstanding successes. Conversely, unfortunate incidents can cause talented individuals to miss opportunities. According to the quote, it seems that sheer talent alone doesn't guarantee success, as the most talented individuals are often not the most successful. Overall, ordinary people who are fortunate often succeed much more than talented but unlucky individuals. The most successful individuals you see often just have a slightly above average level of talent, but encounter more luck in life. It's a unique combination of ability and opportunity. However, we don't get to choose where we are born. It could be in a poor country like Somalia or in a wealthy one like the Netherlands. We also don't get to choose our parents, whether they are in a good position to raise children or face difficulties in life. We also don't have control over our intelligence, beauty, or appearance, as well as whether we have an easy youth or face painful events. Genetics are also beyond our control, from health issues to the risk of addiction. Most of the time we have little control. Luck deals us cards. Our task is only to play with the cards we're dealt. Often, but not always, the cards people hold may be so weak that their chances of winning become very fragile, with victory here often defined by societal standards. No matter what strategy they apply or effort they put in, they might lose. Luck is sometimes unavoidable. In today's world, with the harmful divide between winners and losers, these individuals are often seen as failures and consequently are often scorned and blamed. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer strongly emphasized that the opinions of others do not affect our happiness. However, he also recognized that humans often deeply care about how others perceive them. Therefore, it is not surprising that being seen as a failure can have a significant impact, as it implies losing value in the eyes of others. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer strongly emphasized that the opinions of others do not affect our happiness. However, he also recognized that humans often deeply care about how others perceive them. Therefore, it is not surprising that being seen as a failure can have a significant impact, as it implies losing value in the eyes of others. Furthermore, whether others perceive us as failures or not also depends on specific social segments. For example, in some communities, unstable housing may mark failure, while in others, not achieving outstanding accomplishments may brand you as a failure. Again, in different groups, remaining unmarried may place you on the list of failures. So, the concept of being a failure is highly subjective and doesn't reflect much on our personal happiness. Schopenhauer emphasized that we shouldn't overly concern ourselves with others' opinions. In a passage from his work, he described what happens in the consciousness of others as a matter of indifference to us. And over time, we become truly indifferent to it, realizing that most people's thoughts are often meaningless and futile, their ideas narrow, and their emotions often not refined. Their opinions and the amount of errors they may contain can help us realize that a person often criticizes their peers with contempt when they are not afraid of them or believe that what they say will not be heard. From Schopenhauer's perspective, as depicted in his work, The Wisdom of Life, there is a distinction between who you are in yourself and who you are in the eyes of others. The important thing is how we perceive and deal with criticism from others, and whether it affects how we define our own happiness or not. In society, being considered a loser doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong with you. Conversely, when the environment sees you as a winner, it doesn't automatically mean you're completely outstanding. If you're struggling, suffering, and people call you a loser, it doesn't automatically make you a failure. In fact, this could be a sign that you need change and support to progress further on your path. If people call you a loser and you still feel happy, it indicates that you're a happy loser. However, this doesn't mean you're morally good. You're just simply a happy person, despite being perceived as a loser by others. Nevertheless, Schopenhauer recognized that people often value others' perceptions of them. Therefore, many may find it difficult to be content when those around them deem them failures, regardless of whether they are happy and satisfied with themselves and their lives beyond others' opinions. Therefore, in many cases, the difference between a happy loser and an unhappy one may only lie in how much we care about others' opinions. Schopenhauer believed that caring about how we are perceived by others is a weakness that we should keep under control. What is happening in others' minds should not affect our sense of happiness. When society labels someone as a loser, they typically don't want to be associated with that label. It's an insulting term based on the mistaken belief that every difficulty in life is one's own fault, and they must bear responsibility and deserve contempt for it. However, the reality is that we don't control our destinies, and in many cases, our lives are merely the result of luck. Misjudging this reality only adds to the uniqueness of Schopenhauer's perspective and emotions, stubborn and narrow-minded. However, in unfortunate circumstances, we still retain the freedom to choose. While it may seem like an empty statement devoid of substance, we can still use it wisely. But if a person tries their best in their situation, society may still judge them as losers. As a piece of advice, how people evaluate each other not only depends on individual perceptions. So, should you care about society's opinion? Because if not, being labeled a loser will become meaningless. What matters most is how you define good and bad, success and failure, victory and defeat. A happy loser doesn't care if people call them or her a loser. A content loser accepts their position happily and satisfactorily, a position that is untouchable if it's the price they pay for choosing their own living conditions in the face of unforeseen twists of fate.